What is up, guys? It's the Fry and Gonzo Talk Show podcast thing. I'm Fry.
I'm Gonzo.
And today's topic is going to be on
abortions. Whether you're for it, whether you're against it, I don't care. We don't care. We're just going to talk about it and give you, our insight about it.
Yep.
So, I don't know, Fry, what are you? You for it? You against it? What do you say about this?
I am pro-choice.
Pro-choice?
Yes, I am pro-choice.
Why do you say you're pro-choice?
I believe that, it is the woman's body. It should be her decision. I mean, there's a certain point to where I think that it shouldn't be able to happen, but I do believe that within the early stages of pregnancy, you should be allowed to have a choice on whether or not you want to carry that baby or not. Now, once they get to full term, and the baby is a living, breathing, human being, and then right before they're about to give birth, within the last month or so, and they decide, oh hey, I don't want a kid. There are people that there are women that carry them that long, and then at the last minute decide that they don't want to have a kid. Have you ever seen the abortion videos?
Yeah, where they go in there with like
a saw, pretty much, and they chop
cut
the baby up.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And a lot of times the baby is healthy, it's alive, it has a brain functionality, a heartbeat, and it moves, kicks, everything. And I think that is totally fucked. You're just pulling a life away. That's at the point to where I don't agree with you.
Yeah, I think if you've gone that far, there's a point of no return,
Exactly.
You kind of committed with this already. I mean, I feel I'm pro-choice. I feel if a woman, if a female does end up getting pregnant, and she, either knows oh, I don't want this baby, whether it's because she just straight doesn't want to have fucking kids, or let's say she just can't. She can't afford a kid right now. Let's say, what if she's 15 years old, because it happens.
Yeah, it does.
And I think it's fucked up for people to kind of say, oh, well, it was your choice, you have to pay for your punishment. It's no, it's not a fucking punishment. It's a fucking life.
Yeah.
You get me? It's not, it's not, oh, you fuck up, you go to jail for a couple months, or you pay a fine or some shit like that, any other normal shit would be. It'd be, you fucked up, you have to live with it now. And it's no, if you don't want the baby in the first place, what makes you think making them keep it is going to make it any better?
Yeah. Yeah. So your point of view on this is just the same as mine.
Pretty much.
In the early stages, you should be able to decide whether or not. I think past 3 or 4 months, after 3 or 4 months of being pregnant, and you tried to decide after that you want to have an abortion, I don't think so.
Right.
That's wrong. Because at that point, you've effectively created another human being.
Right.
And the fact that Planned Parenthood and all these other places will literally just be yeah, dude, we'll cut it out of you. It's kind of fucked because there's options. Okay, so if you decide that you can't afford, you're not financially stable to have that child, like you're saying, there are options. Maybe that you have family members that can't bear children. Right. Ask around. There are people that are willing to adopt newborn babies, and I know there's a ton of resources that can actually get you in touch with people that are oh yeah, hey, we have this teenager, or it could be a straight up adult that's pregnant, and they just can't financially support themselves and the child, so they're putting the child up for adoption.
Right.
And that's something that's an option there. But I do think, let's say, okay, so this comes up a lot in these kinds of debates, is people are okay, well, what if the girl got raped?
I was just about to bring that up. What state was it? It was Alabama or something that banned abortions. I think it was something that point is
there are states that have abortion banned.
States that you can't get an abortion, and even if you let's say the girl gets raped, she still can't get an abortion. She has to live with that baby. I think that's just fucked up right there.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the state should have that power.
What if a 13-year-old got pregnant because she got raped and now she's pregnant? How are you gonna tell that 13-year-old, oh no, you can't get rid of that baby?
Well, not just that. How is she supposed to explain to her child where her father is?
Exactly. That's
how that child became, to be. Like, to me, I feel like the mothers that have those children like that, they don't have the same kind of love that other mothers would have with their kids. Like I feel like that'd be a fuel for hatred.
Yeah.
A reminder of what happened and what someone did to you.
Yeah, I mean, some people say, like, I guess the cons of it or whatever, or, the pros of being, not having abortions or anything like that is there's a heartbeat, it's a whole life that we're talking about right there. But like you said, that's, later in the months, later in the pregnancy, once the baby's actually a baby. I mean, when do you think, like, the heartbeat actually starts? When does life actually become, like, a life in there?
That's why I'm saying, like, after the 3rd or 4th month.
You think so?
So after about 3 or 4 months after being pregnant, you shouldn't be able to get an abortion after that.
Right.
Because the baby is pretty much already fully formed.
Yeah.
They're already a life form. Now, I understand how women, they have stillborns and stuff like that. Like, those have to get cut out or else it's an endangerment to the mother.
Yeah.
But then again, that baby is also deceased. So, but it's you have to take that kind of stuff. And okay, so I know a female that she uses abortions as a source of what do you call birth control.
That's what she uses for birth control.
Yes, she just gets abortions. Now, she has a friend that she has trouble getting pregnant. I've talked to her,
right?
And her and her husband have been trying for a while, but they have one already, right? But they want more. They want their child to have like a sibling, which I don't blame them. Kids get lonely, They kind of. I think that children that are raised with more children are better off.
Right.
And they're not as socially awkward and stuff like that. So, anyway, her opinion on how her friend uses abortions as birth control, she's very angry about it. She thinks that people as fortunate as her that are able to get pregnant, like, just out of the blue, She just gets very angry with the fact that that's how she uses abortions.
Yeah, I mean,
because
this
is like number 6 or 7.
I mean, there's other alternatives for birth control. Obviously.
Yeah, so you have the pill, obviously.
You have a fucking condom,
condoms. You have the vaginal condoms. You even have spermicides,
or just straight pull out.
Or just straight make sure your mans can pull out. Yeah.
I think that is actually pretty wrong, that's abusing it,
yeah, that's abusing the system.
That's abusing it because why isn't that expensive? How much are some places abortions are free, right? But in some places you have to pay for abortions as well.
Planned Parenthood. I don't know, but I think it's free.
Right. But yeah,
then again, you can walk into a hospital and get a bag of 12 condoms for free.
You go to Planned Parenthood and get condoms for free.
You're completely right. You can. Yeah.
So I just think, I'm pro-choice. I feel like the woman, she should choose whether she wants it or not.
But at some point, it becomes wrong.
At some point, it becomes... You had time to think about this. Mm-hmm. You had time to establish an opinion about it. You had time to think about it. To plan for it.
And whether or not.
And if you're fully on board and you pull out at the last minute, let's say
that's fucked. That is straight up murder.
Right.
I think it is murder. Because you are literally so there are babies that are born prematurely.
Yeah. Right?
And so sometimes they're not fully developed like they should be. But those are the stages that people are killing their children. You're saying, hey, I don't want this kid anymore. But the fact is, if they were born, they would still live. They would be a perfectly healthy baby.
Right.
But they just choose, because they're selfish, to get rid of it.
Right.
And I don't think this is something that should be up to the states, though. So the states are what's governing it, per se, and they're saying, hey, no, this is illegal, or this should be something that it should be your choice. But I personally believe it should be from one point to one point, not till the end.
how do you feel like talking about the whole abortion thing? What if like I've came across, well, not me personally came across this situation, but I've heard this question come up before. What about let's say the woman doesn't want it,
but the man
but
does.
the man does.
Okay, so
or let's say the man doesn't want it, but the
girl,
woman does.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like
the way I feel about that is if the woman doesn't want the child, but the man does,
right?
That's complicated as fuck.
It is.
Because one, the man's not the one that's carrying the child, right? And the female is. She's the one that ultimately decides whether or not she's gonna carry it to full term or not.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard this kind of conversation before. The argument. People are like, well, what if I want the kid? And well, I'm not. Blah blah blah. They just go back and forth about it. And ultimately, it's not our decision. So, my wife could get pregnant, and she'd be like, "Oh, I don't want this baby," and I could be like, "But I want the child." She's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's my body." Right. And she's the one that can decide that. Now, vice versa for the other way around is fucking the man doesn't want it, but the woman does. Ultimately, that woman's probably just gonna end up leaving the man.
Yeah, but I mean, that's where it becomes even more complicated, I think, because let's say the man doesn't want it. Let's say he just can't have a baby. Like I said, situations where you can't have a baby, and the woman ends up, oh, like, you don't want this baby, you could leave, blah 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 blah, and then I think it gets deeper there, as well. Now that man is gonna have to, like, if he does, leave or whatever, pay child support for, let's say 18 years or however many years it is,
like
right?
Mm-hmm. He's kind of stuck in that.
Yeah, he's stuck in it. He's, even if, let's say, it was a mistake. Let's say, because I'm pretty sure there's females out there that, like, I'll trap men like that. Like, oh, I got pregnant. It's your baby. I don't care if you don't want the baby, and they just do it solely because they know they could fuck your shit up.
Well, I know for a fact that the man will probably want a fraternity test once the baby's born,
right?
And if it comes back positive, then ultimately it's the state's decision whether or not he has to pay child support or not.
Yeah.
And that would just be an entire court thing, a court hearing from there, and it's just I do feel a different way about that. So I'm all about owning up to stuff, Right. So if you did something and you've done it, you need to own up to it. Be a fucking man and say, okay, you're right. I got you pregnant. You want this child, so I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's well taken care of. That's right. The kind of thing that's where I stand on it. I think men, not to like throw anybody under the bus or anything like that, but I think men that run away from that are cowards.
Right.
I think, like, yeah, okay, you can't afford it, we'll find a way to afford it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing too, is like girls, they can't do that. Once they're pregnant, a lot of places won't hire them because they are pregnant.
Right.
Because companies know that they'll have to pay them fucking baby mama leave and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's like up to like 45 days now or something like that.
It's pretty up there.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, because they gotta heal. They have to look over the child while it's still literally a baby, and childcare is expensive. That's one of the reasons why my child doesn't go to childcare. It's expensive. It's up there,
yeah.
And I don't make that much money, so I make enough to get by, but
so
yeah.
Ultimately, I guess we came to the conclusion that abortion should be legal. You should have a choice or a decision whether, the female wants to keep the baby or, have an abortion.
Yes, but there needs to be limits.
But there's a stopping point where that baby is, I guess, too grown to be aborted or whatever.
Yes.
I think what people would argue that is, well, what about when it's like, you're saying because it's basically it's a full grown baby now at that point. But I guess people will argue, well, when does like a heartbeat start or something like that? Like,
well,
that's
the thing is, you can hear the heartbeat very, very like within the first couple of months.
Right. So that's the start of life, essentially.
Yeah.
So why would it be wrong to do it then if you're gonna just do it? But you can't do it later because of that same thing.
I would love to get into this, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time. So we might just carry this over into another episode.
Right.
We'll hear what the fans want to hear about, and then if you guys want us to keep talking about this, we will. But unfortunately, it's all the time we have today. And
yeah, don't forget to subscribe and comment what you want us to talk about. We'll talk about literally anything.
Smash that like button too. All right, guys. Until next time.